It was back in 1969 when the very first Ford Mustang Mach 1 was born, designed by Ford as the bridge between the regular Mustang GT and the Shelby GT 350 in the Mustang lineup. It also served as the performance Mustang and the answer to its rivals in the muscle car class. Job well done, as the first year of sales was a massive success. Ford continued production through the second generation, re-emerging for the fourth, with each model adding their own design flares. But that was a very long time ago. Fast forward 17 years and the Mach is back with the 2021 Ford Mustang Mach 1. Again, a performance variant to sit between the V8 GT and more specialty Shelby models. It's been tweaked, tuned and tested, so much so that Ford say that this is the most track-capable 5-litre V8 Mustang ever. It's a big claim, so to find out if it's true, we thought we'd speak to someone who knows their way around a racetrack. Two-time Bathurst winner and Mach 1 ambassador, Rick Kelly. So Rick, you obviously know all of the history behind this much anticipated Ford Mustang Mach 1. You've got the keys to one. Tell us your very first impressions.
Yeah, well, I've got to say that its bold, muscular styling is something that certainly hits your eye as you walk up to it, but really is a sleeping giant, because it doesn't look like a track car that you expect with big wings hanging off it and everything else, but it certainly is more than capable. But like you said, the history around it, the Mach 1, is something that's pretty cool. Obviously, it was built to celebrate Chuck Yeager breaking the speed of sound in his aeroplane so long ago now. So I love that side of the history of Mach 1. And when you look at the badge on it, for me, it certainly represents a lot around that. To have a car that represents such significance, I think, in that era is pretty cool.
And so happy that it is back after such a long time. Now, 5-litre V8 engine, 345 kilowatts of power, that's 6 more than the standard Mustang, 556 newton meters of torque. Talk us through the straight line speed, traction, because we know that this thing is capable of going fast.
Yeah, first, that's very good with the numbers. I don't remember the numbers, I just know how it feels inside the car. From a straight line point of view, it's got the grunt. The first thing that you'll notice is that you hear it, which is really, really cool, and it puts you back in the seat. This one's optioned with a Recaro seat, so it's more than capable of holding you when it does take off straight, and obviously in cornering as well. But the thing that I've loved most about the power and accelerating is the gear shifts in the manual. So it's got the flat shifting, and so I've never actually done that in a road car. I've only ever done it in the race car. So the first time I did it, holding your right foot flat on the throttle and just pushing the clutch, you expect the engine to rev out and you're a little bit nervous about what will happen, but it's really, really impressive. So that was one thing that I've really loved playing with.
Now, Ford has also enhanced the ride and handling of this Mustang, all thanks to its redesigned front end suspension setup. So talk us through, well, give us a sense of what it's like handling into corners, and is it challenging at the limit?
The one thing that you always have with the road car when you take it to a track is it rolls around a lot. It's hard to stop on the second or third lap because the brakes are hot, and it's not a lot of fun. I was really interested to see how this handled on the track. It gives you exactly what you expect from any of your inputs, whether it's obviously steering, brake or throttle. It's a lot of fun, and you're not thinking about what's the car going to give me. It gives you exactly what you expect, and that's something that I think is pretty critical from a track point of view.
You mentioned track. Let's delve a little bit deeper, because Ford has claimed that this is the most track-capable 5-litre Mustang. Can you attest to that? Have you had much track time with it yet?
Yeah, I certainly got the chance to spend a day at Broadford, which is a nice little track offering all sorts of different corners. So you get a really good idea of, fast, medium and low speed corners, change your direction and everything else. And so achieving that, what you just mentioned, is really quite difficult from the point of view of you have to make it acceptable on the road when you're driving down to the shops to get groceries or whatever it might be. It can't be too harsh, too loud and too aggressive. So driving out to Broadford is like a 3-hour drive for me, and it was mint the whole way. The biggest thing is what they've done with the suspension, making it stiffer in rolls, really good. The tyre, like I said, is really well matched to it. The capability that it's got to repeat it lap after lap, that was, I think, most surprising for me, because as you know, you put a car a road car on the track, you jump on the brakes at one of the bigger long stops on the track, and it pulls up really well. And normally on the second lap in a road car, you come around and brake at the same point and you spear straight off because the brakes are hot and it can no longer do it. So the endurance side of the car is what I think impressed me. We were at Broadford all day, and the repeatability lap after lap with that is really good. So obviously with any performance car, when you're pushing everything to the maximum, cooling is a big thing. And so with the heat exchangers they've put on this car and the extra cooling that it's got front and rear, it's made it really, really nice from that point of view, and something that you don't have to worry about. So you can belt around the racetrack all day and then, you know, take your helmet off, you know, hop in your normal clothes and drive it out the front gate and down to the shops without a worry. It's quite impressive.
We know that Mustangs sound great. Just how loud is that performance exhaust? And I'm also keen to know if you've ever switched it on to quiet mode.
There's so many different things that I have learnt about this car, and unfortunately I didn't learn about the quiet mode until I'd already left home at like 4:30 in the morning to drive to Broadford. It is quite loud until you turn that on. Yes, I have used it, because when I drive into the car park to pick my little fella up from school, everyone tends to stare at you when it's not. So it is a car that turns heads, but I think being able to adjust things like that is what makes it fun. It's also got a lot of different dash modes that you can turn, you can change through. It's fun because being able to change it into track mode, have it also set a few other things up for you, as well as change the dash, is something that's pretty cool and something I really enjoyed.
Let's set the scene. Ford call you tomorrow. They want your input to the next generation Mach 1. What's one thing that you would change with this car?
It wasn't so easy to pick a fault with this on how it handled on the track on different corners. The only thing I did a couple of times was bump a button on the steering wheel as I was turning around the track, and I think it activated Siri on my phone and I was asking for, you know, an Uber order. But apart from that, there's nothing else that you would really change. It impressed me quite well, being able to convert from a road car to race car and back without changing anything, which is pretty cool. Not worrying about, you know, servicing and what you've done to the gearbox and all that's a big thing. So I think they've done a great job, and rather than critique it, I'm just happy to drive it.
The Mustang is currently the best-selling sports car in Australia, but what makes the Mach 1 the car for the enthusiast?
The capability on track and the look is one thing, but the history behind it is another thing. When you drive around, you do tend to see a few Mustangs here and there, but this one, it turns the heads of all the Mustang owners, but a lot of other people as well. When I first took this car and parked it in a few places, had a lot of people coming up and taking photos, because it does look quite different to the normal one. But like I say, its capability and the history behind it is something that I think attracts a lot of people to it.
All right, well, now that I've been sitting here listening to all the history and all about it and looking at it for so long, I think it's time to go for a drive.
Absolutely, that's where it comes alive. Let's do it.
What was your very first car, actually?
Well, see, this is a question I've got asked a lot through my 20-year career. So the very first car I had, I didn't actually drive on the road because I got it before I got my license, so it was a little mini minor. But the first car I had on the road was a Ford XHU. It had a flamethrower on it and wheels and a cam and all the silly things you have as a 18-year-old.
What colour was it?
White.
White.
Boring.
What's your ultimate car colour?
In the Mach 1, the colour I would pick is the fighter jet grey.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a little bit under the radar, but you can get the pack on it that has the orange highlights, like the brake calipers and all that, which is the same colour as Chuck Yeager's plane that he went in. So I like that. I like that whole story.
Say you're on a road trip. What do you reckon is good road tripping music?
A lot of drivers have angry, pump 'em up music. I have slow stuff.
Really?
And
what, like Mozart?
And everyone's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I want to be relaxed and hop in the car and go do my job. I don't need to be all on edge."
Yeah. So you've taken the Mach 1 around Broadford. What's the ultimate track you'd want to take it to?
Well, I think that you'd enjoy it around most tracks because it is nice and pretty neutral in balance.
Would you use this as just your everyday drive?
I'm happy to have a car like this as an everyday driver. I don't really like to stand out. This car is very much a standout sort of car, but I love it and I enjoy driving it. It's very good on fuel around town, and it gets the job done for me and my lifestyle. I need this to enjoy during the week, and then I need the Raptor for the weekend.
Ford, he needs his Raptor. Please rush his order. Well, not a bad day in the office. Great to get an expert opinion on such an iconic Mustang model, and we can't wait to get behind the wheel ourselves. Shame I'm leaving today, keyless. Thanks for watching. You can read more about the 2021 Ford Mustang Mach 1 at CarAdvice.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you get to see all of our latest videos. And of course, let us know what you think about the Mach 1 below in the comments.